With an estimated 1.4 billion motor vehicles, we live in a car-dominated world. However, for many reasons, there are still plenty of people who have either never learned to drive or don't have access to a car. So, what other commuting options are there, and what are the alternatives to driving? Thankfully, there are many possibilities for a car-free commute that will help you to dodge the traffic and transform your way to work. From scooters to skateboarding, we'll provide a comprehensive breakdown of options so you can choose what would work best for you. First up, let's look at the fact that cars aren't cheap transportation to work. Many alternatives to driving are not only better for the planet, but they'll also boost your pocket. If you do own a car, or if you are considering buying a new or second-hand one, it may seem like good value, but the ongoing costs of car ownership can soon add up. After the significant expense of the initial purchase, you've still got insurance, tax, and fuel to add on. Even if you've opted for an electric vehicle, the charging costs still need to be considered. On top of that, there is the task of finding somewhere safe, secure, and strategic to park your vehicle, which can not only be tricky, but also prohibitively expensive. According to research from the RAC Foundation, cars and vans are only actually used for 4% of the time, around an hour a day, and the rest of the time they are either parked at home, which is 73% of the time, or elsewhere, such as workplaces, 23% of the time. So, cars don't seem like the best option for travelling, so how do you get around without a car? The car is king is now a commonplace phrase since the rise of the automobile in the 19th and 20th centuries, but despite what car manufacturers would have you believe, its reign is coming to an end, and getting around without a car is not only possible, but practical. We'll look into 6 ideas for getting to work without a car, but they can all be combined and adapted to create infinite options. So let's get into it. Number 1, walking. Depending on the distance to your workplace and your fitness level, you could either walk the whole way or walk part of your commute. Walking is a great way to add in movement to your day, especially as studies show that work time spent sitting accounted for more than half of the total daily sitting time on a workday. The pros of walking include benefits to health and well-being, it's completely free, it's an easy way to incorporate exercise, and you don't get stuck in traffic. Of course, there are also some cons, such as it takes more time, you're subject to weather conditions, and it's not an option for everyone, such as those with disabilities. So if walking isn't viable for you, that brings us to number 2, public transport. Depending on where you live, public transport options can vary, but if you're in an area where you have accessible, affordable, and reliable provision, then it is a great way to get to work. Whether it's a bus or a tram, traveling by public transport means you're free to use the journey time for whatever you'd like to do, listening to a podcast, reading a book, or even taking a nap. Although, be careful not to miss your stop. Google Maps has a helpful public transport option which provides live timings and suggestions that you can even adapt to your preferred method. Other apps and platforms such as Citymapper are also designed to help you plan your route and even include a cost breakdown. Some places will offer smart cards or tickets that can be used across different providers and methods, often on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Make sure to check out the possibilities for where you're based. Pros of public transport include it frees up travel time, there are lots of options, and there are many good route planning tools available. The cons include you might get stuck in traffic, and provision can vary depending on location. Up next is a form of transport that is increasing in popularity. Number 3, e-scooters. An innovative and nifty form of transport, e-scooters are enabling many people to easily get around. If your commute is relatively short, you can scoot there, and as many models fold down to a compact size, they are also perfect for combining with other forms of transport to make longer journeys possible without a car. There may be rental options available where you live, so you don't even need to own an e-scooter to be able to give it a go. However, before you whiz to work, it is important to check if and where it is legal to use an e-scooter, as their use may be restricted. The pros of e-scooters include they're easy to carry, there are lots of rental options available, you can integrate them into a journey with other forms of transport, and you're not affected by traffic. The only real con is that they're not legal to use in many places. Now, that brings us to the mode of transport we know you've all been waiting for. Number 4, the bicycle. If you're looking to switch to handlebars for your commute, the bicycle is a versatile choice. Cycling is not only a highly efficient form of transport, but it is also an effective way to keep our body, mind, and environment in tip-top shape. So if you're looking to focus on your fitness and our future, then wheeling to work is one of the best alternatives to driving. Pros include low cost, benefits to health and well-being, it's good for the environment, and you're not affected by traffic. The cons are you're subject to weather conditions, there's potential for lack of safe and accessible infrastructure, and you'll need secure storage when leaving your bike at work. Number 5, an e-bike. An e-bike may be the solution as it still has many of the aforementioned benefits, but it makes cycling more accessible. They are particularly helpful if you have a longer or more hilly commute or a health condition that makes using a standard bicycle too challenging. The pros are similar to using a bike, such as being beneficial for health and well-being and being good for the environment. On top of that, e-bikes are accessible for those with disabilities or needing to ride longer distances. The cons are also similar, with the added issue of being more expensive than a standard bicycle. Finally, we have number 6, folding bike and train. Perhaps you work in a different town or city, or your commute occasionally means you're based further afield. In this situation, the folding bike and train combination is a winning one, as it enables you to enjoy the best of both worlds. Having a folding bike makes it much easier to not only store on the train, but also when you get to your workplace, as you can easily pop it under your desk or maybe in the staff room. Pros of a folding bike include they're good for longer commutes, easy to manage, they incorporate exercise, and you're not affected by traffic. Cons include folding bikes can be more costly and trains can be busy at peak times. Now, if none of those options is getting you excited, there are more alternative commuting options. The world is your oyster when it comes to commuting. You could run to work, rollerblade, use a moped, or even a skateboard. When it snowed in Switzerland, I even saw people skiing to work. All of these alternatives to driving mean that it isn't a barrier if you do not drive or have access to a car. Instead of your colleague's car journey full of fumes, frustration, and financial burdens, you can get to and from work feeling refreshed, fit, and in touch with your surroundings. You may have to deal with a late bus every now and then, or a few soggy cycle rides, but we promise you will leave work feeling invigorated and more connected to nature, people, and your purpose. Try out these alternatives and we can guarantee you'll experience your commute in a different, better, and greener way. Consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you for watching.